Welcome back. Dale Myers with Student Advanced. Today we're going to discuss the difference between real and complex numbers. So again, this is probably for an Algebra 2 calculus class or something like that. And you recently learned, and we talked about in another video, about imaginary numbers. So, and where we had to take the square root of some negative number. So first, let's get back to then what is a real number? Real numbers are any number that can appear on a number line, basically. That's a simplified way of thinking of it. It includes the stuff you learn in elementary, middle school, rational numbers that can be written as a ratio or a fraction, irrational numbers like pi and like the square root of 2, but any number that can be written on a number line. So for example, the number 0 is a real number. 1, -1, these are all real numbers, but so is 1/2, if I can get my thing to right. This is halfway through, so that's 1/2, or I could write that as 0.5. That is also a rational number. It's a rational number, but it's also a real number. So again, a real number is anything that could be put on a number line. And again, it includes, I could have -1.5 back here, -1.3, -0.25, anything, any fraction. I could have, square root of 3 or square root of whatever, square root of 8. Like I said, I know the square root of 8 is somewhere out here, but the bottom line of it could be a square root as well. Okay. So now, and just so we're clear, again, the square root of 2 would be somewhere in there. Complex numbers, on the other hand, complex numbers contain a real and an imaginary part. Again, a complex number contains real and imaginary. One moment, we're having some difficulties. Here we go. So complex numbers have a real part and an imaginary part. So typically in your math textbook, it says something like written in the form A plus BI, where A is the real part and B is your imaginary part. What do I mean? Let's take a closer look then. The real part might be any number that's a real number. That could be 5, it could be 0.5, it could be 1/2. Any of those could be the real part, okay? And then BI, B is, again, another real number, but it's multiplied by some imaginary number. So this might be 5 plus 2i. It might be 0.5 minus 0.2i. It could be all of those. It could be, again, a fraction, okay? But the bottom line of it is it will always have this I. That's the imaginary part of it. So again, the difference between them is that a real number, so technically a real number still contains a complex number. It's just that it's 0 times I. We'll cover that in another video. But so my goal here today was to simplify it for you. The simple version is that the real numbers can be put on a number line, and the complex numbers are the real number plus some imaginary number tied to it. Again, pretty simple concept. You don't need to overthink it. Of course, it gets more complicated. Stay tuned. We're getting ready to do how do we add and subtract complex numbers. That'll be next. And then we'll deal with multiplying complex numbers. Again, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, like the video, and come on over to studentadvanced.com. We'll have some more detailed tips as well as some practice problems for you. Again, Dale Myers, studentadvanced.com. Take care.